If you're looking for a new wireless gaming mouse, these are two that should be at the top of your list. We've got the Superlight 2 from Logitech, and we've got the U2 wireless from Zowie, and this is their latest offering. Both of these mice are great. I couldn't decide between the two, so I bought them both, and wanted to kind of highlight some differences with the mice outside of all the tech specs, which other people have already, dove into and done a much better job at comparing the two than I could. So we're going to go over the real world usage and what I've seen using both of them. We're going to run through the shape and the feel of both mice, the connectivity, things that they handle in hardware versus software. Zowie side is hardware, Logitech side is software. The price of the two, considering some things that may not be obvious at first glance. And then finally, the conclusion. So to start this off, I bought these both with my own money. I'm in the return period for both. Only one of them is staying with me. Not sponsored by anybody. This was just me trying to pick the mouse that's best for me. As far as how big my hands are, I'm about 6'2". My hands are about 4.5 inches, going from the side of my thumb over to the side of my palm. About 9 inches from the bottom of my palm up to the tip of my middle finger. And then about 8.5 if we go from my thumb to the tip of my pinky. So feel and shape. Right off the bat, I just want to say I'm kind of biased towards Logitech. I had a G502 back in the day, MX Master 3 that I used for work here in the background. These mice, or the mouse that I ended up keeping, is replacing the original G Pro wired from Logitech. So I love Logitech as a whole, and the shape of the Superlight 2 just felt really natural to me. If you're curious about these grips on the side, they come in the box. There's some for the buttons as well, but I didn't put those on. But yeah, it's just that, egg shape, as many people call it. Nice bump here in the top middle of the mouse. It's very comfortable. I palm grip a lot, so super comfortable for me to palm grip. If I try to claw grip, which is, better in quotes, it's not really comfortable for me. It just doesn't feel natural. And even if I'm trying to be conscious about claw gripping, I find myself in the middle of a game going back to palm just because it's comfortable. On the Zowie, it's a little bit smaller. The bump in the back is a little bit further back on the mouse and actually comes a little bit higher. If we try to get a look at the side profile here, you can see there's not much as far as how it curves in on the Logitech. On the Zowie, it's a lot more drastic. You can really see from that angle how drastic that curve in is. So it really forces you to kind of choke up on the mouse and claw grip it. If I try to palm it, either my palm is on the back of the mouse or my fingers are hanging off the front. So it really makes me claw grip it like that. What I've seen, which is exactly what Zowie was going for when I was looking up this mouse, they wanted to force people into a claw grip because it's better. Like I said, whether you believe them or not is kind of irrelevant. That's what they were going for with the mouse, and that's what they accomplished. So I noticed that I play Counter-Strike a lot. I did a lot better with the Zowie. And I think that's primarily because of the way it forced my grip. If you think about it, you're going to be a lot faster clicking when you're claw gripping versus when you're, I'm obviously exaggerating, but when you're palm gripping it. So those are the difference in the feels. It's going to force you to claw grip. I'm not a claw gripper, just by nature. I don't think it's that comfortable, but it actually is comfortable here on the Zowie. So that's one big difference between the two that I noticed. Side button placement, I've seen some people talk about those. I don't have a problem with the Logitechs. Again, that could be because of the mouse that I'm replacing. It's exactly the same as a Superlight 2, basically, as far as those buttons are concerned. So I didn't have an issue. The Zowies are, again, if you think about how drastic that curve is there, my thumb's right there, super comfortable. Really comfortable to pick up if I'm doing a flick shot and trying to come back, whereas on the Superlight 2, I had to put the grips on to make that more comfortable. Not a big deal. They come in the box, just something worth noting. The other thing, the last thing I guess, is the scroll wheel. I've seen people complain about the Zowie scroll wheel. I don't really have a problem with it. It works, it's whatever, it's fine. I like the Logitechs better though, but again, that might be due to my pretty big Logitech bias over the years. As far as connectivity goes, said that a little bit weird. They both have a USB-C port on the front for charging if you want to charge them that way, or if the mouse dies and you want to keep playing. Beyond that, the Logitech has this very familiar dongle. Zowie has a dongle like that comes in the box as well, but they prefer you to use this brick, for lack of a better word. I really don't mind the brick. I don't think it's an eyesore on my desk at all. I had a bungee cord for my wired mouse, so I'm used to having something like that in front of my mouse. The nice thing though is if you can see these little contact points there at the bottom, this is also the wireless charging base. So the Zowie, the wireless charging base, comes in the box. You can wireless charge, don't have to spend any additional money. Not the case with the Logitech, which we will get to more here in a second. And then one of the things I mentioned that I'm not going to go super in depth on, the tech specs, different polling rates. There's a software update that came out, so the polling rate on the Logitech can be up to like 8,000 hertz, which is overkill for sure. I didn't really notice a difference with 1,000 up to 8,000, and the Zowie, at least as far as the buttons are concerned on the bottom, is capped at a 1,000 hertz polling rate, but something to keep in mind. Jumping into hardware versus software. So things like switching the DPI on the Logitech side is controlled entirely through software. No DPI buttons anywhere on the mouse. We've got a power switch here on the bottom, and this cover is just covering the where the wireless charging would go. It's a separate thing you have to purchase, but that's all that's there. Everything is handled through software. I'm not a huge fan of that personally. I know that this is kind of the go-to mouse for a lot of Counter-Strike pros and pros in different esports, but when you think about it, a lot of them are sponsored by Logitech, and they show up to an event, they plug in their mouse, and that's all they're concerned about. They're probably not, playing games and then going and doing work or whatever else on your computer where, if you're using 400 DPI in a game like I do, and you're trying to do that on a desktop, it's kind of a pain in the butt. On the Zowie side, it's handled through hardware. So down here on the bottom, you've got this DPI button. I'll just go ahead and push it. You probably won't be able to see the different LED colors, but the LED colors correspond to different DPIs. And then Zowie does include a little manual in the box to show you, hey look, whatever the color is on the bottom of the mouse, this is what the DPI is that it's referring to. So really easy to just look at, hey look, I use 400, it says that it's red, so when I go into Counter-Strike, make sure the bottom of the mouse is red. I like that touch a lot personally. I didn't have any issues with the Logitech software. I just don't like relying on that software or always have it running in the background where you have to either launch it before you go into a game or set the program to run on boot. Again, I didn't run into any issues. I just don't really like that solution personally, so maybe a little bit nitpicky on my part, but I prefer to have it on the physical mouse. Now when we get to price, you can obviously look up the MSRP. The Zowie comes at $130 and the Superlight 2 is $160. You go on Amazon, the black Superlight 2 was $160 when I bought this one. The white one was $10 cheaper, which is why I went with it. And then if you really don't care about your mouse color, you can get a magenta one for $130. So that makes them both about the same price. However, like I mentioned, if you want to wireless charge, you can't do that on the Logitech unless you purchase a separate charging brick, dongle, whatever you want to call it. Those go for about $30 on Amazon. A few different companies that offer them, but they're about $30. In addition to that, any review that I saw personally of the Superlight 2, they were using these feet on the bottom, these glass Superglide feet. Those are another $25 because the feet that come on this just suck. That's my personal take. If you disagree, great. I'm glad they work for you, but I thought they kind of suck. So these glass feet are another $25. So to get the same features, if you really want wireless charging and you don't want to worry about, plugging in via USB-C, and you want some, actually halfway decent feet on the bottom of the mouse, you're looking at another $55 on top of the super expensive mouse that you're already buying. For me, this was a huge letdown. I was just super disappointed in the price because now you're looking at, $185 to over $200 for a mouse, whereas the Zowie just has everything there in one package. So wrapping all this up, I think the U2 wireless is a easy winner. Like I said, the Superlight 2 is really comfortable. It's that really familiar shape, but the way this was forcing me to claw grip, I was doing better in game. I like the wireless charging, how they include everything just right there in the packaging. I like the way the mouse feels a lot. This is my first Zowie mouse and I've been really happy with it. I like how everything is handled with hardware on the bottom of the mouse versus software like Logitech does. And then you get to the price where this is significantly cheaper, between $50 and $85 cheaper than the Logitech if you want those, the wireless charging and the better feet on the bottom. So I think this is the no-brainer pick personally. If you're between the two, I'd like to say you're not going to make a wrong decision. It's very subjective, using, like I said, the palm grip versus claw grip is the biggest thing that I keep coming back to. But I think you should definitely give the U2 a try. I know there's a lot of Zowie loyalists out there who think that their mice are the absolute best. And like I said, I've been really pleasantly surprised with the U2. So this is the one that I'm keeping. Superlight 2 is unfortunately going to be sent back, and I hope this helped you make your decision or, helped give you some insight that you didn't otherwise have on the differences between these two. If you disagree, definitely let me know down in the comments below. I don't have any sponsorship on this video, just an Amazon link that's generic. Anything you buy there, I get a very small commission. But beyond that, the Zowie wasn't even on Amazon when I bought it. So won't have a link to that down below, but leave a like if this helped you out. Let me know in the comments below if you disagree. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I hope this helped you out.